Welcome to Paranormal or Reality. On today's video, we explore some ghost stories from around the country that will keep you up at night. Now make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. Let's begin. I was hoping for a bit of advice or to try and get some answers. I've had a couple of experiences that I am unable to explain. I'll start from the first incident when I was around 11 years old and my brother was 14. We lived in a new build home in Wales. Very normal-looking house, and it definitely did not feel or look haunted. We found a couple of strange things in the back garden when we were younger, such as old bottles and a pair of old broken sunglasses. Not sure if it's related or not, but thought I'd mention it. One of the first strange things that happened was when my mom called us downstairs. For some reason, there was a glass of milk on our kitchen table that was full to the brim. Like it was so full if you moved it would spill. My brother and I had no idea. As none of us did it, we went to the living room for something, and when we came back, the glass of milk was empty. Weird, but didn't think much of it. Fast forward a couple of weeks later, my brother and I were playing the Sims game on the computer. It was only me and him in the house, as my mother was working late. We were creating a new Sim when all of a sudden something came between me and my brother's ears and said, "Stop it." It was the creepiest thing I've ever heard in my life, and still to this day I can hear it. It was really unnatural. I could almost feel the breath, and it freaked us both out. We both turned and looked at each other and said, "Did you hear that?" We both jumped out of our seats and ran to the other room, called our mother to tell her, and she just chalked it up as our imagination. But whatever happens to us was real, and definitely happened. I've done a bit of research on it, and have found that ghosts do sometimes whisper stuff in your ears. Freaky stuff. Fast forward to a few years later, nothing paranormal after the milk and whispering ghost girl thing incident. But then there was one night when I was in bed. I had a TV in the bedroom. The streetlights outside would make the screen reflect stuff, so I could see things in my hallway, etc. It was around 3 a.m. when I randomly woke up and saw what looked like a woman in a white gown walk into my bathroom and the door shut behind them. Freaked me right out. I said to myself, it's probably my brother, as he had a white dressing gown. I decided to get up and have a look. I knocked on the door expecting my brother to reply, but there was no answer. So I opened the door, and there was nobody in there. Scared me to death. I ran back to bed and pulled the sheets over my head, then ended up falling asleep. I told my mom and brother about it, but they both just said I must have been dreaming. Weird. Other than those incidents, nothing else really happened until now. So fast forward to today, I'm now 28. I completely forgot about the whispering ghost girl until my brother brought it up to me a couple weeks ago. Once I started to remember it, some strange stuff started happening. Now this only happens when I'm at work. It's never happened in my flat or anywhere else. But basically, I was sitting in the work canteen having my lunch, and in the corner of my eye I saw what looked like a man in an orange hoodie with his hood up and blue jeans. When I turn to look, it disappears. It doesn't happen every day, but it happens a lot. Always the same orange hoodie and blue jeans. Now where I work is right next to Cardiff Central train station. I'm not sure if that's linked at all, maybe a death on the railway or something. But I'm still seeing this orange hoodie man to this day, and I just want to know what people think. I've never seen their face as their head is down with the hood up. Am I more open to paranormal things or spirits because of what happened when I was younger? Or am I just going crazy? This is where my story begins. The work we needed to do was long and hard, but after 2 weeks most of the heavy lifting was done, and we started to enjoy some downtime. This coincided with our move to the augmentee housing. When we first moved, the housing manager, a civilian, walked the senior leaders through the 12 buildings we were to occupy and the bathrooms we were allowed to use. The setup was typical for Army short-term housing. Each building had 2 sides with bunk beds from front to back. The 12 buildings we occupied, along with some others, were arranged in a square with large bathrooms and open shelters for a meeting, eating, etc., in the area behind the buildings. Each unit had its buildings, and my unit had the one the furthest from the assigned male bathroom. This was odd because directly behind our building was a male bathroom. But it was locked, and it was not on the list to be assigned to us. Being older, I asked the housing manager we could get that one assigned as well. Being older, I must use the facilities more often, and I did not want half to walk across the pad to the one male bathroom we had. He said, "Unfortunate that one is not available," which I took to mean it had maintenance issues. Just my luck. Fast forward a few days, and I was coming back from dinner with my team in Barstow, California. It was late, and when we arrived, there was an MP military police car parked in front of the building next to ours. Being sensitive to issues with the National Guard and the active duty, I decided to walk to the smoking area behind the building with the MP to see if I could find out who had messed up and what we could do to avoid paperwork. When I got to the end of my building and started to the smoking pit, I swear I heard a scream and running water from the locked bathroom. However, I also saw one of our senior females talking to an MP at the smoking pit while I looked at the bathroom as I walked by. I was more interested in finding out what was up with the MP. When I reached the female NCO I knew, she immediately said, "You heard that right?" I said, "Heard what, the scream?" "Yes," she said. "It's been going on for half an hour. Looks like someone broke into that bathroom and is tearing up the place." "Great," I taught. "Someone got drunk and is going to get arrested. Please don't let it be one of my guys." I turned to the MP and introduced myself. I asked if she had been into the bathroom yet, and if she had any idea who was inside. She kind of laughed and said, "No, both doors still have their locks, so I'm waiting for my NCOIC to get here with the key." About that time, 2 additional MPs arrived, and one said, "Let's get this over with," and they all started towards the bathroom. The senior MP turned to me and said, "Sir, do you and the sergeant mind going to wait at the other door?" I said, "We're not equipped to deal with some drunk. That's your job." He laughed and said, "No worries. I don't think anyone will come out that side. More a precaution if you don't mind." Satisfied, I walked to the sidewalk so I could see the back door. The noise from the bathroom was getting worse. It was clear all the showers were on from the steam. You could hear toilets flushing and what I assume was stall doors banging. The MPs gave me a thumbs up as they went to unlock the padlock on the door. Suddenly, and I presumed when they opened the door, all the noise stopped. All we could hear was the water running, and then the MPs giving the military policy yell as they entered. Shortly after that, we could hear them yelling clear as they moved down the building in cleared areas. When they got to the end of the building, they started turning off the showers and moving back towards the other door. I went to the front door wanting to see who they brought out. As they came out, the senior guy told his subordinates to make sure power was off and lock up. He asked me and Pryler, the master sergeant who had originally called in the disturbance, to walk with him. When we go back to the smoking area, he said, "We didn't find anyone inside." I was indigent. Clearly someone had been in the bathroom, and I said that imposable. He held his hands up and said, "Sir, this is not the first time this has happened. Every few months we get calls that someone is messing around over here. When we get here, we search and clear the building and find nothing but running showers, and if the bathroom has supplies, they will be thrown all over. But we never find anyone inside. I don't have an explanation for it, but from what I understand, this has been going on for years. There is a standing order that no MPs go into that bathroom alone, and at least one of the MPs doing a search must be male." "What the F?" I said. "Why is that?" He said he was not sure, but from what he had heard, a female MP had had unexplained injuries when she searched the bathroom alone. Back in 1978, my grandfather's oldest brother died, Uncle Ollie. I knew him as a kind and gentle man whom had his leg accidentally cut off during a train accident. Several members of my father's family were railroad workers. Every time my grandfather would take me over, their Uncle Ollie would give me a few brand new crisp $2 bills. I thought they were neat because of the red ink on them. Uncle Ollie would also encourage me to knock on his wooden leg. It must have been in the fall of 1978 when my uncle passed away. I remember the air being chilly when my grandfather would take me over. After he passed away, my grandfather would repeat the same routine once we got to the house. Get the newspapers off of the lawn, then go inside the house and get the keys to Uncle Ollie's car. Then go to the garage and crank up his car. Drive it to the top of the driveway. The last time my grandfather took me over to Uncle Ollie's house was the most bone-chilling and hair-raising event in my life so far. When my grandfather got to the part of cranking up Uncle Ollie's car, he drove the car to the top of the driveway. The driveway was sloped and hard to climb since the garage was in a valley besides the house. My grandfather got out of the running car to check the mailbox. I was standing beside the drive, which was in between the driveway and the house. All of a sudden, the car started rolling backwards with no one in it. I watched in horror as the car picked up speed rolling down the sloped driveway. The car rolled right back into the garage. To my surprise, there was no crash bang or boom. The car had stopped all by itself and was still running. My grandfather ran down to see what had happened to the car, while I turned around and looked at the top attic window and saw Uncle Ollie smiling the creepiest smile I had ever seen. He was waving at me. Until then, I had never seen him smile, and realized had I seen him smile before he died, I would have asked to never go back over there. It's been 45 years since this happened, but I remember it like it was yesterday, Thanks for tuning in. Watch another video if you dare.